We are still there, as close as possible to the near the enemy lines. Women have moved there, proving their potential. First thing first, I'm the one who signed up for it. Okay, I was the one who stepped forward. Indian Army didn't come knocking at my door and say, "Hey, we need you." I'm going into a profession where 96% are men, and at times you may be the only women in the entire unit. So when I've decided I'm going to come in a male-dominated, if we say, profession, I would have to be ready, firstly, to prove my worth, to tell the people that I know my job, I know my skills, I know the men whom I'm going to command. These are the leadership qualities I hold, and you would have to judge me based on that. I will not have a cocoon around me saying that I am a woman and these are my certain limitations. There is no limitation to my intellectual ability, to what I can bring as on the table with respect to my skills as a leader maybe, or certain skills like flying an aircraft.
How have you managed your personal challenges or, losses, difficult times?
There will be people who will be pulling you down. At times it happens that maybe your family is not aligned to your goals.
Women often hesitate to take up jobs or step out because of their fear of their safety concerns.
More than self-defense, being situationally aware in our environment is very important.
So women who report any kind of harassment or safety concerns, they often face backlash, be it at their workplaces or from their families or even society.
Where can a woman feel safe? If not in a home, not in an office, then where?
What do you think that we should enable our men with to make them allies in the fight for women's safety?
More than the men, I feel the boys, the age group of maybe 14 to 20, 25. 25 also I call them boys. They're not to be considered in the category of men. This lot is to be educated completely, to understand that she is equally educated, same intellectual level है उनका भी, आपकी तरह equally काम कर सकते हैं. People keep saying behind a successful man there is a woman, is the other way around in my life.
And I definitely believe that in this journey of women elevation, men play an equally important role, because they can be your true allies, they can be your comrades. She shattered barriers, soared to new heights, and proved that courage knows no gender. A trailblazer in the Indian Army, she became the first female UAV observer pilot, fearlessly leading the way in a domain dominated by men. Her journey is a testament to resilience, determination, and the power of breaking stereotypes. But her mission didn't stop there. Beyond the battlefield, she has dedicated herself to championing women's safety, empowering them to step out with confidence, and inspiring the next generation of fearless leaders. A soldier, a protector, and a true force of change. Ladies and gentlemen, we are honored to have with us today Major Prajakta Desai for the 8th episode of the Snakes and Ladder Show with Ronita Sengupta. Welcome to the SNL show, Major Prajakta, and we are extremely honored. And as I said, that I'm very, very excited to have you with us today. I hope that you're feeling equally happy and I think excited to be part of this conversation. So just wanted to know, what are your thoughts right now? What is fleeting through your mind?
Firstly, thank you so much for inviting here. What I really found intriguing about your show was the name, The Snakes and Ladders. It's so wonderful. I mean, it's very innovative. And the way you're addressing the issues, both, that's something that is taking you ahead and something that is actually pulling you down, and how you need to balance it. I think I love that concept, and, I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Very, very honored. And it has been a dream of mine to have someone, a personality like you from the defense sector in my show, because I think women today are crossing boundaries, shattering glass ceilings, and doing so much even in the non-traditional roles. That is phenomenal. So Major Prajakta, today we are going to be navigating through your journey into the defense world and how it has been post the defense life as well, because I see that you're up there doing your TEDx talks, you're inspiring students, you're inspiring women. And personally, as a woman myself, I feel very inspired when I listen to you or I see your other interviews. If you allow me, I'll begin with the questions. And today we are going to first look at the snake segment and see how you crush the snakes in your journey to your elevation and the way you've been elevating other women as well. So I definitely would like to start by asking you this question, that as the first female UAV observer pilot in the Indian Army, you paved the way in a predominantly male environment. So could you share an instance where you faced a gender bias and how did you address it?
To be very honest, I haven't faced gender bias as such. And if I have to actually explain you the entire concept of how women in the armed forces, especially Indian Army works, so just allow me maybe 2 minutes or so where I can actually tell you how things go for women over here.
Please.
Now, to tell everyone over here, I'm a UAV observer pilot. That's an unmanned aerial vehicle observer pilot. It is like a drone, not a drone exactly small. It's like a huge aircraft which is unmanned, stays in your own territory, and at the same time, it is able to do the reconnaissance of the enemy. So that's the beauty of the aircraft. Just wanted to bring that out over here. Now, if we see, women have started in the armed forces, other than the medical corps, was in the early 1992. Since then, there have been leaps and bound changes of what women are, till date being in. So in 2023, the nearest to the border, or you can say nearest to the fighting forces where women have been, are in the corps of artillery. I'm sure everybody knows artillery, which we see on the
Yes.
movies, in the movies, the artillery guns and all the huge guns.
Yes, yes.
That is artillery,
Okay.
where in 2023, 6 lady officers had got commissioned. So yes, the journey was, I feel personally, a little slow, but we are still there, as close as possible to near the enemy lines. Women have moved there, proving their potential. But I personally feel that, in a profession like the armed forces, where if I have to talk about the ratio, or the percentage, 95 to 96% are the men and 3 to 4% are the women. So the number is less, like you can say the sample size, if somebody has to do a research on it, is very less. And when you have decided to come into a profession like this, there are, 100% chances that something or the other is not going to go your way. You will be facing problems, or I can say you will be facing some challenges where the opposite person may or may not recognize your potential. Because, when initially we came into I would not say we, my predecessors who came into the armed forces, they started as early as 1992, they started from these services, like the Army Service Corps, Army Ordnance Corps, people who were in the supporting battle, I would say.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
there's a battle going on, you
Yeah.
have the infantry fighting in the front. There are people, you can say that they are the ones who are behind the stage.
Yeah.
They're actually those people who are not maybe leading the war, but they are the ones who are actually manifesting or, staging each and everything to move forward. So women have been in the support cadre then. Slowly women came in the combat support cadre, like the Army Air Defense. I have been in Army Aviation, engineers. Slowly and steadily, now they have moved forward. So when such thing happen, you as a woman have to be prepared that every point in time you would have to face issues and you have to prove your worth. And as you as pioneers, if we as pioneers have started proving our worth, and as the generation goes ahead, it becomes easier for them. So when I've decided I'm going to come in a male-dominated, if we say, profession, I would have to be ready, firstly, to prove my worth, to tell the people that I know my job, I know my skills, I know the men whom I'm going to command. These are the leadership qualities I hold, and you would have to judge me based on that. If I can give a small anecdote of my
Absolutely.
life.
Yes.
So I'm from the pioneer batches of Army Aviation. It started when they started inducting women as air traffic controllers. It was from September 2008 onwards.
Okay.
I'm 2011 pass out. So in these 2.5 years, we were like the pioneer lady officers, just one per course, and every course pass outs after 6 months. So in a year, only 2 lady officers who would enter into Army Aviation. Then Army Aviation was also like a new upcoming branch. Branch, I'm using this word for everyone to understand here. It is the upcoming arm of Army Aviation. So we had even the men come from the combat forces. As I said, women were not there in infantry, the fighting forces, they were not there. They were not there earlier in the artillery or the armored. We had men coming from those branches as well. And that literally formed Army Aviation. So they were not into an habit of taking maybe orders from the women, having women officers be their bosses. So when I went into Army Aviation as a young lieutenant, trust me, I was not this. I was a very tiny, petite girl with short hair. I'm not sure if anybody would have taken me seriously as well because I appeared to be a tiny girl. But then I knew that I had to command these men, the 13 boys, the 13 Jawans I had with me, tall, literally 6 feet tall, extremely healthy, standing in front of me. And one morning I told them, Aapki mein fallen lungi. Fallen is just putting people in one group and, giving them orders and telling them the task for the day. So that day I told them, 9 baje aapki fallen hogi. I told my Havaldar, I want everybody to be ready by the time I come. So 8:45 he did whatever, arrangements and all, everybody has to stand there. At 8:55 I went and stood there. So initially they were little reluctant, looking at me, ye kaun lieutenant aa raha hai hamare paas itne chote se. Honestly, internally I was literally getting scared. This is my first day with them. How am I supposed to create the first impression, have a right impact on them, because these are the people whom I will be working for next 3 years.
Correct.
I think my legs would have trembled internally.
Sure.
Thoughts were going on in my head, but because we've been trained so much, even in such situations where you feel they might not be favorable or might not be in your favor in some way or the other, still I stood there. I gave my introduction to them. I said, I'm your new ATC officer. This is the way I'm going to function. Today, these are the tasks for you. I gave it to my Havaldar. I said, you are supposed to appoint each one of them. Again, at 1 o'clock, I'll come and check all your safety measures because I'm in aviation. The firefighting things, I want everybody to be in place. When I'm in the tower, I want 3-4 boys sitting at XYZ work. And again, at 12 o'clock, I'll check everybody. Another at 1800 hours in the evening. And this is how we'll function. So when my communication was clear, the thought process was clear, I kept my place, I stood my ground and stood there and, expressed that I mean business. I know my job and I will be here, and this is how we are going to, win each other's trust, collaborate and work. And I think that way the things propelled forward for me. And I think that also goes for all the lady officers. How you set an precedence for yourself, that goes and continues forward.
Okay, so this is a fantastic example of actually a real life leadership case study, if I'm allowed to say that. And women who are listening to this episode today, I think we will have some wonderful insights on leadership examples from Major Prajakta. So I'm very curious to know that just the way you were very open in telling us about that you did feel scared from within when you were facing this entire let's say batch of male officers or your male soldiers. What at that point of time prepped you up? What was that element of courage or that one tip that you would like to share with all of us, that any one of us when facing this kind of situation, because a lot of women in leadership positions also they have to probably look at leading a team of majority of male employees or male workforce. Can you share one tip with us, Major Prajakta, that will help women leaders across to handle I would say a diverse workforce, and not getting scared or not hesitating or feeling doubtful about their capabilities?
Yeah, I'll just give 2. First thing first, I'm the one who signed up for it. Okay, I was the one who stepped forward. Indian Army didn't come knocking at my door and say, hey, we need you. No, I was the one who went in for the examinations, gave my interviews, gave my medicals, got into a merit. Out of lakhs of students who sit, I decided that this is where I'm supposed to go. I knew it beforehand. I'm going into a profession where 96% are men. And at times you may be the only women in the entire unit. And it has happened with me because I was in Army Air Defense, I was in Army Aviation. I think till 4-5 years of my initial service, I've been a single lady officer because we do not have women in the Jawans. I have been there. I have decided I have to be here. This is what my career is, and from here I want to rise. So first thing, it's an acceptance that I have chosen it. I cannot keep crying and saying that this is not happening. Problems will come. I think problem arises in everyone's life.
Yes.
It will happen. It's not gender thing. It's not gender specific.
No,
fear
absolutely,
or
yes.
your hesitation,
Exactly.
nervousness. It comes to both the genders. Second most important thing I want to tell all the women is, I will not have a cocoon around me saying that I am a woman and these are my certain limitations. Yes, we women have limitations. For example, if today me and my husband, we are of the same age, if we are meant to run 100 meters, I'm sure he's going to cross me. It's a wrestling match. I'm sure I cannot match his standards. So biologically, physically, we two people are completely apart. Both the genders have their own limitation, their own strengths. Otherwise, in Olympics, we would have people running together in 100 meters, which they do
Absolutely.
not.
Yes.
So that's a limitation I know I have. But at the same time, there is no limitation to my intellectual ability, to what I can bring as on the table with respect to my skills as a leader, maybe, or certain skills like flying an aircraft. What I did as a UAV pilot, that doesn't define that I would have to be of a specific gender to do that thing.
Correct.
So, notwithstanding that, keeping that thing aside, I as a woman should not have a cocoon saying that मैं एक लड़की हूँ और ये मैं चीज़ नहीं कर सकती. आप जैसे ही वो cocoon आपको build करके चले जाओगे, you will not be able to put a step forward. That will keep pulling you behind.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
if these two things are kept in mind and worked upon by women, I'm sure women are going to go to the highest of the leadership roles that we have in our country.
That is so inspiring, and thank you for answering this question. Coming to the point where we talk about, irrespective of the gender, whether you're a male or a female, we all have our share of, constraints or restrictions. But this brings me to the next question, because many women face personal hardships that impact or that affects their professional lives, because the deliverables, their performance, everything kind of gets impacted because of the personal issues they may have been facing. Now, Major Prajakta, if you're comfortable sharing, how have you managed your personal challenges or losses, difficult times? I'm sure that you have come across in your life. And do you think women in the army are better equipped to handle those hardships?
Honestly, yes, we are much better equipped when it comes to handling these kind of hardship, whether it's a personal loss or professional loss or something that is really not envisaged by us but happens all of a sudden. Destiny plays its role each and every time. But when we were training, we were trained so rigorously for 1 year when we get into the officers training academy, especially women into OTA, before becoming commissioned officers. Our training is such that out of 24 hours, 18 hours a day, you are actually in a rigorous kind of a schedule. You're put into high pressure situation. Stakes are really high. Your mental agility is always challenged. Your physical capabilities are taken to a threshold where times you tell yourself, why am I here? When you know you are here to make a career, to become class 1 gated officers. But you have been trained so tough, I would say, for complete 1 year that you get easily adaptable. That's number one. Your resilience is on another level. The third most important thing what I've seen in the armed forces is you never say no. I mean, I think the word of no doesn't exist in the dictionary of the armed forces.
Yes.
नो का सवाल ही नहीं है. अगर आपको कोई काम दिया जा रहा है, आपको कोई टास्क बताई जा रही है, that आपको आज शाम को 40 kilometers रन करना ही है with a backpack of 17 kilos, 33 kilos of the weapon, and you will be running 40 kilometers along with your course mates. You have to do it. You cannot sit there and say I would not do it. So when you are made into that mold that this is the way you have to be. Why? Because whatever situation may arise, because when you have decided that I'm getting into a profession like the armed forces, when anything can happen to you at any moment of time,
yes,
you should be prepared to face each and every situation. At times what happens, you would have to take quick and high pressure decisions. And even if you know that I have made a wrong decision, you, by your acts, by your leadership skills, you have to make it right as well. And this starts as early as you're 20, 22-year-old. I would say kids only. 20-22 साल में हम तो बच्चे ही होते हैं.
Correct.
उस एज में आप you are there in the academy, taking such situation, handling such rigorous schedule, that you build up that resilience, you build up that adaptability. And when you grow up in life, I think वो maturity भी जल्दी आ जाती है. So I think armed forces के women के लिए वो थोड़ा सा easy हो जाता है to cope up with it. But I feel at the end of the day, when a woman takes different roles, the role of a mother, the role of a wife, sister, or when we fit into these different role, the empathy factor also comes in, the emotional factor also comes in. And I think army to आपको बना ही देती है वैसे tough to handle it, but at times there are things where with your personal losses you may break down. But I
Yes.
feel at the end of the day, life doesn't stop. Each and every one of us is vulnerable. I mean, we have to face it. Only the difference is how am I able to cope up with it as early as possible. So आपको ये एक्सेप्ट करना पड़ता है दैट दिस इज लाइफ, दिस इज हैपेंड, जस्ट टेक इट, एक्सेप्ट इट and move forward. Grief doesn't go. It will never go from a person's life who have faced personal losses. But I think it just hides somewhere behind and you learn to live with it. I think not only armed forces women, women in general are so damn strong that they take up everything on them and they take the entire family forwards. I think that's the beauty of being a woman.
Beautifully expressed, and I couldn't have agreed more. I think women across our country or across the globe, irrespective of the fact that there are so many situations that can arise in our life, I believe that yes, women definitely turn up to be stronger, or they are able to handle certain situations in a very emotionally mature way.
Yes.
But I also feel that yes, probably the defense teaches you some better tactics and some better ways of coping mechanism when it comes to hardships or maybe personal losses and certain
I
situations
think
in
it's
life.
just the time over there
Yeah.
that may be reduced for women in the armed forces and otherwise. So these are not only the personal losses. As army officers or being army personals, I would say, we have seen the loss of our own coastmates. I mean, helicopter crashes due to some weather conditions because they are posted in high altitudes such as Siachen Glacier as well. Then in the face of enemy, we have seen all. And when you have actually seen the loss of a person whom you've trained with or whom you've served with. I still remember an incident. One of my junior who was posted me with me in an aviation squadron, he passed away a couple of years back in a helicopter crash. And before that, just a couple of months before, while I was in Nasik, he had just messaged me, "Ma'am, if you're here, please come over." I still regret the day that I couldn't go and meet him because of my, some kind of personal work that I had over there. But had I taken out the time and met him, I might have not felt it till date that I wish I had met him. I know maybe a last coffee that we could have together, because you never know what can happen next. But
Absolutely.
yeah, the Indian Army makes you accept these losses very gracefully. We honor our men, we honor our people who have left, and I think that also sometimes comes in our personal losses as well. Even if we have lost somebody, the person is gone, but we will keep honoring them in the best possible way rather than having a grief and grieve over it. It's best to honor that person, and that's what even I've learned from my organization.
Fantastic. This really fills my heart. I mean, I think it's a moment of being a little overwhelmed also, because this is one of the first-hand experience when someone from the defense background is talking about, the emotional journey and how you all cope up with it. But I'll now come to one of the questions that I had in my mind and I really wanted to ask you, is that when you're pursuing a career in the defense sector, it is often looked upon, as a not as per the traditional societal expectations, for women. Now, I definitely want you to share your piece of advice, or your thoughts that we can offer to our women who are going to be watching this show and those aspiring to enter those non-traditional sectors of career. That what is it that you would like to tell them?
So when I decided to join Indian Army, that was way back when I was a child. Okay, why I say this, because the answer lies somewhere there. I was as young as 8-year-old when I had expressed the desire to my parents, casually probably, that I would like to become an army man. You don't understand anything at that age. Neither did I know that there are women in the army, nor what is an officer or a JC or a Jawan, but just a desire to join the armed forces. And the first thing what my parents told me was that yes, you can do it. Neither did they laugh on me, nor did they, push that idea aside. So when we say how a career or how thoughts are sown into your life is when there's somebody who's instrumental in putting that to you. They did not disregard it as maybe a child's fantasy. they kept pushing it. I think probably till date when I'm so passionate about the armed forces is because somebody down then, maybe 30 years back, kept that hope alive in me that yes, even if she's talking something that she doesn't know about, but yes, that is still there in her and we should, keep encouraging her. So it started over there. And when I grew, I honestly had people around me, college friends, such good people, that they always had only one thing in mind: to make your mark in this world and make your career.
Yeah.
So when you have a friend circle which is so positive, you in turn, start studying, you start being aligned to your goals. As teenagers, especially me, I was an unguided missile. I keep telling everyone, I was never having a straight thought. Yes, I wanted to get into the armed forces, but my path wasn't straight. It was completely curved, going here and there and haywire. But these were the people who actually kept me sane, who actually kept me focused on my path. If I was wavering, that come here, this is what you're supposed to do in life. So initially, I think it starts from your family, as parents or as
Yeah.
family members,
True.
how you do not put them down, or you do not, disregard the thought that somebody wants to make up a career in an unconventional way. Second thing, if I as a woman or if I as a person has made up my mind that I want to maybe become a fighter pilot today. We have women in the fighter stream.
Yeah.
It's come recently only, a
Yes,
couple of years
yes.
back, but yes, we still have them.
And you've been reading about them,
Yes.
fighter pilots or
Yeah.
women. Yes.
So, second point is, if I have decided I'm going to be an unconventional career, please, I will go towards it. I mean, I always believe that कुछ तो लोग कहेंगे, लोगों का काम है कहना. तो अगर हमने लोगों के बारे में सोचना ही शुरू कर दिया, तो आप आपके पाथ पे रहोगे नहीं. When I guide youngsters, I keep telling them, have you seen a horse running a race? They have these blinders, on the left and right, so that they can stay on their path or not get disturbed by the neighboring horses.
Correct.
I said, do that in your life. There will be people who will be pulling you down. At times, it happens that maybe your family is not aligned to your goals.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And it's a very common phenomenon.
Yes, it is common, very common.
Yes.
So it may be that, but if you're sure of going towards it, please go towards it. And then the success as well as the failure is your responsibility. Then you cannot hold anybody else responsible.
Very rightly said. And Major Prajakta, coming to the point of, women standing up for themselves, or rather listening to what their own heart, their own, maybe, their inner being of what they want to do. But one of the sad realities which still prevails in our country or, many societies also is that women often hesitate to take up jobs or step out because of their fear of their safety concerns. Now, do you think that this fear holds back women from realizing their full potential?
Yes, to a certain extent it does. But again, I feel, the government may keep making policies. They will make certain policies which may come in vogue, which may not come in vogue. And even if they are in vogue, it may not be implemented to the ground level. It may happen. But at the same time, will I as a person stop myself from, moving ahead? That is the first question each and every one of us should ask. I may come from any strata of society. I may be from a humble background, or I may be from the richest background, but I may have certain restrictions right in the house as well. So each and every one of us, I feel, has different kind of journeys. And while everything happens, as I said in my previous answer as well, if I have decided I will move forward, I will move forward. No, yes, there are a lot of safety concern. It happens. And I feel because of that, self-defense, or being more than self-defense, being situationally aware in our environment is very important. Why I say that? That when we talk about that a certain city is not safe for women, maybe after 8 o'clock or something, may stand true, may not be true also, because not the entire, entire city is bad. But at the same time, I as a woman should be situationally aware that if I am going in a specific area, will I be able to pick up that fight? Do I have resources around me? यहाँ पे ना I feel ये sensible होना बहुत important है. I may be a very strong girl. I may be lifting weights and things like that. But at the same time मुझे पता होना चाहिए क्या यहाँ पे मुझे कोई help करने आ सकता है? Will I find some resources? Maybe police is around, or maybe 10-15 people are around to help me. I should be very smart enough. Do I enter this battle or not, or do I just take a step back, run to a safer place, and maybe contact the police or take help of locals over there? And second thing is self-defense. one must know how to protect themselves, especially women. And I'm not talking about, they become martial artists and all. No. Basic techniques of how I can safeguard myself, release myself from somebody's maybe grip or something. Basic small things, it should be learned, and I think it should start as early as from our school days. Children, I would say here, children are very smart, they pick up very easily.
Yes.
So it should start from there. और ये awareness करना बहुत important है, that कि safety is a huge concern. And I personally feel that when we have such kind of policies or things like that, they are all short term measures. What will be a long term measure for me? That I have a shift in the mindset.
Absolutely.
Shift in mindset both for the men and the women. जैसे हम लोग कहते हैं इंटरमिटेंट फास्टिंग, आज आप फास्ट करो कल जाके वजन कम होगा, बट इज दैट समथिंग lucrative that's going to go on long time?
Correct.
No, it's not.
Not even sustainable.
Not
Yes.
sustainable.
Yes.
Similarly, only having policies may not be sustainable. Along with that, the most important thing is the change of mindset, which will start from the root level.
I think it's a very important insight that you've shared, that probably looking at how we are placed today in, from the point of view of space, publicly or wherever we are, self-defense is a training that probably is non-negotiable at this point of time. So I couldn't have, agreed more, but I guess that is one basic training probably we should start giving to our children, especially, girls across different schools, colleges, and I think even women today who are probably working professionals or going out, they should keep that as one of their, one of the key skills of life or life skills that they should probably try to inculcate.
Yes.
So very rightfully said. Thank you for sharing.
And if I may add in this, one more important thing along with that I wanted to bring out is it's important to tell a teenager, especially when we are teaching self-defense to teenagers, that it's a defense mechanism. It's not an attack mechanism, I might teach somebody a skill, but it's important for me to tell him or her what is the use of that skill. So that's also should be kept in mind by the parents and the society in general.
That's a statutory warning coming from Major Prajakta that yes, it's good to know the defense skills, but don't use it
to attack someone.
Yes, attack someone unless it is required. Okay, good one. All right. So Major Prajakta, so women who report any kind of harassment or safety concerns, they often face backlash, be it at their workplaces or from their families or even society at large. Now, I definitely feel that this is one major concern that we need to address. And as you rightly said earlier, that see, policies can be in place or policies can be formulated, but there is a need to shift our mindset or, look at, a completely different change of perspective or thought. So we want to know from you, Major Prajakta, that how do we shift this culture of, understanding that in such cases, we should be supporting the survivors instead of turning the tables against them.
True. Two things. I would say that there's something as a temporary measure, and then one is like a permanent measure, which will help us overcome this. Most important is the temporary measure as of now, because the permanent measure, which I'm going to come again to, is going to take a longer time. So now when this happens, especially in offices or in society as general, we have seen, people start talking about the women or trying to put her down in some way. I feel instead of putting her down, especially when we have women in the leadership role at higher roles, they should be coming forward and applauding it. Rather than putting another woman down, these are the ones who are supposed to come forward and applaud it. See, the opposite gender which we have, they might not come forward or they might not feel comfortable coming forward in spite of their believing that inhone jo kiya hai wo sahi hai. So I think the person who understands another woman better is another woman. It's women to women. So she's the one who should come forward and applaud. There should be complete changes when it comes to the office setup. I think where can a woman feel safe? If not in a home, not in an office, then where? So that is the thing. Certain things should not be spoken about. If I have reported some kind of incident, it should not become talk of the town or talk of the dinner table. No. There should be strict policies in corporate or in workplaces which says that if somebody has reported some kind of thing, it should remain confidential. And I have read certain policies, especially government policies, which speaks about how do you have committees when something, for example, sexual harassment taking place with a woman. How can certain committees be set up within the organization which will have a women element so that she feels comfortable reporting about it, speaking about it, rather than having a complete male setup when it comes to an inquiry for a
True,
specific
true,
event?
true.
That's there. Another thing I want to tell you about is the family. The family should be open to that girl who has faced this, that even if something like this has happened, you're still a child. The brother will say, you're still my sister. So the most important thing should come from family. घर से तो मतलब काम से तो होता रहेगा. अगर फैमिली ने ही सबसे पहले आपका हेल्प नहीं किया, then how things are going to go? She's going to break down there and there.
Absolutely,
So I think इस
absolutely.
family भी mindset change होना, not to bother about what the society is saying and other people are saying, your relatives maybe. This should be done. And if not happening, it may happen that I am right, I have some kind of very strong views, and my family doesn't. But I should be sitting back with my family and explaining things to them. That's, I think, the first
Yes,
step.
yes.
Yes.
I think to sum this up, we are looking at women and especially women leaders at workplaces becoming the voices for other
Yes.
women as well,
Yes.
supporting them, aligning with them. That is very important. You spoke about the POSH committee that,
Yes.
organizations have
Posh
in place,
committees,
of
yeah.
course, because they play a pivotal role in ensuring women's safety at workplace. And definitely, if families stop judging, instead stand by their own girls, and give them all that support, I definitely feel it would be a better place for women who have survived these kind of harassments or, safety concerns. So, that comes from Major Prajakta Desai. Another important insights for women today who are a part of the workforce, that nothing should stop you, no judgments, no, mindset that pulls you back should stop you from achieving what you're destined to
I
do or
actually forgot
destined
to
to be.
mention the permanent measure as well, if you allow me to
Yes, of
tell me
course.
about that. As I said before in my answer, the permanent measure actually lies in the shift in the mindset. If I, as a parent today, we as parents today, start teaching our children what it is to respect one another.
Yes,
Firstly, is to
yes,
respect one another, irrespective of the gender. And second thing, how when we come in our teenagers and early 20s, how women's safety is important. And I
yes,
think
yes.
these children only will become tomorrow's leaders, tomorrow's generation. I think 20 years down the line, the shift in the generation, things will get better. So I think that's the permanent solution. It will take time, but till then, we should have temporary measures. And most important point, I feel it should not keep happening from us women is also that we expect the men to always take a stand. Like in case of corporate, I have maybe 10 men in the leadership, and I'm saying that my bosses are not standing up for me. I have taken up a case against XYZ and all. Don't expect somebody else to stand up for you. They may not rightly understand what situation you are in, but yes, a woman will. So that's hence the first point when I spoke about that higher leadership role, whoever women are there over there, these ones should be the one who have to come and support us.
In fact, Major Prajakta, in my show, The Snakes and Ladder, this is one topic that we have been reiterating in a couple of episodes, that women can be the snakes for other women, but what we are planning or what we intend also to bring forward to everyone's attention and to reflect upon is women can also be the ladders for other women. And this is a perfect example of women standing by each other, where we talk about women leaders who go to the top. Instead of just enjoying that exclusivity for themselves, they should then lend out that support, whether it's morally or whether it's through skill development or even by standing by another women who could be in trouble or in need of
Yes.
that kind of emotional support. I think it can be phenomenal and turn the paradigm of
Yeah,
women elevation today in our country.
absolutely.
So coming to the legal system of you know that is right now addressing the safety concerns of our women, I want to know that if laws exist to protect women, but justice in many cases is often delayed or denied. From your experience, what do you feel are the biggest gaps in law enforcement when it comes to the safety of women?
My answer may not actually resonate with things in favor of women here, because I feel laws are for everyone, irrespective of the gender. Laws are for the people who have been, under the umbrella of having earned justice. And yes, rightly said, sometimes justice is delayed, and
Yes.
we've been seeing that, at times denied also. But I feel our judiciary system have lot of laws which are women biased, and because of that, what is happening is, I understand one thing very clearly here, and I'll also stand by it, that when we say about women, it's not women in the only tier 1 cities. These are the women who are from the villages, who are
Yes.
from those areas, yeah,
Absolutely.
where they are not speaking up, or they are
Yes.
not even, they're suppressed to such a level, they wouldn't even come out of their house to, for their basic daily needs. So these laws have been for that majority of the people who are, the majority of women, I would say, who are having issues. But what I've also seen at the same time is, there are, because of this blanket sanction that we have, there are a lot of women, in most of the divorce cases, I feel the men are the one who have been in a lot of trouble. We've seen a lot of cases lately that are, women who are earning, have a lot in their hand, but at the same time want to have a alimony or a maintenance grant from the husband. It sometimes turns up to the custody also of their children.
Yes.
And the worst one, what I heard recently on social media, was when women actually demanding 6.5 lakh rupees per month for her maintenance from her husband. I mean, sometimes I wonder how, how insensitive somebody can be when it comes to something like this, that you are demanding such a high amount just for your maintenance. And because of this, what happens is, the real chunk who are suppressed, who are having issues, are, also coming into that rut, and sometimes justice may not be even given to them. So, because of certain, I feel, elements, or certain elements where we women are being wrong, I think the ones who actually deserve it are not getting it. So, these are my actual strong views. That's why I said mine may not resonate with what people are expecting in terms of laws, but I feel laws are pretty good out there, which are protecting our, our gender, the women.
So there are absolutely two sides to
Mhm.
it. I agree to the fact that sometimes the laws that are made for women are misused,
Yes, misused.
or there is a certain level of exploitation that goes, and of course the majority of women we see in rural India, tier
Yes.
2, tier 3 cities as
Yes.
well. They are not able to take advantage or benefit of those laws when there could be certain real authentic cases
Yes.
when we look at their side of the story. So that's definitely there. At the same time, I feel that in many urban cases also today that's happening,
Mhm.
and whenever we are talking about the safety part of women, one of the recent cases was the Arjikar
Yes,
case
government
in
college. Yes.
Kolkata, where we saw how one very talented young life of a doctor got completely
Absolutely.
extinguished because of the carelessness and delayed justice to her and her family. So there are cases like that that's happening, and I definitely feel that you know we as a society and we as women have a lot more role to play in
True.
ensuring that equal justice is met out and justice on time.
True. And
So
another factor to this is, certain changes, when actually what can be brought to our the laws is that it should not have a blanket sanction. It should be case to case
case
basis,
basis,
because
yes.
of the so many divorce cases which I've spoken about. The Arjikar Medical College case we spoke about. Here we should have our justice to be. I mean, it should be much faster. Justice should be not delayed in this case.
Yes. Yes.
The hearing and all should take place fast, like fast track courts.
Yes.
Fast track courts should be there for some cases like these, which are authentic and which require to get justice immediately. So there
Absolutely.
should be not a blanket sanction. I think because of the blanket cover only, there are so many loopholes that the deserving may not get it and the undeserving may get it.
Absolutely. Now, coming to the last question of the snake segment, because we are talking about one of the most critical topic of women today, which is the safety part of it. That while women are constantly advised that stay safe, have understanding of where you should be, where you shouldn't be, but the real change also lies in educating men, Major
Yes.
Prajakta. And what do you think that we should enable our men with to make them allies in the fight for women's safety?
I'll start with this with a small anecdote. Like in the armed forces, women and men train together. We may have our accommodations differently. Now it has come that the accommodations are also in the same building for the OTA cadets. Earlier when I was training, we had different accommodations. We have the same set of standards when it comes for our physical test to be passed. Only difference is terms of time. I mean, what is the capability of a woman. So when we used to train in our companies, in our groups along with our gentlemen counterparts, they have seen us slog in the same way. As I spoke about a 40-kilometer run, the gentlemen cadets were running along with us. So they have seen what is she capable of. During her menstrual cycle also, that girl is not giving excuses.
Yeah.
She's running along with us. She might not match me, but she's completing that race in her stipulated time.
Correct.
She's the one, getting up as early as we are. She's taking the same amount of punishment. She's running the same 5 kilometer, 10 kilometer runs that we have. Same education that she's taking, the military education that we have. So when men and women, when they train together, they start understanding her problems as well as what her capabilities are. And I think that's why, as generations move forward, the mindset also shifts. Like if you see my course-mates, they will always say, yes, these were the cadets, the lady cadets were very good, she used to run faster than us. And they start actually valuing you for who you are. So when you give I would say, an environment for our men, the boys, and also the children to see that the women along with you is equal. Yes, she needs to be protected because of a certain things that may happen tomorrow with her, but at the same time she is also capable of all the things that you are doing. She's not the person who is to be, जब एक लड़कों का ग्रुप होगा तो उसको साइड कर दो, ये नहीं होना चाहिए. ये हम बच्चों को सिखा सकते हैं. And especially more than the men, I feel the boys, the age group of maybe 14 to 20, 25. I don't, 25 also I call them boys. They're not to be, considered in the category of men. This lot is to be educated completely, to understand that she is equally educated, same intellectual level है उनका भी, आपकी तरह इक्वली काम कर सकते हैं. लेट्स नॉट टॉक अबाउट द आर्मी, सिविल सेटअप इन जनरल. सो अगर आपने इन लोगों को अगर आपने एजुकेट कर दिया, एंड मोर देन एजुकेशन, उनको ये बिलीव हो गया, आई हैव बीन एजुकेटेड बाय समबडी बट आई मे नॉट रेजोनेट विथ व्हाट यू आर टीचिंग मी. I have to actually assimilate it and start believing it from within the core that yes, this
Absolutely.
woman is capable.
Absolutely.
And this is not a one day job. It'll go on for years and years, having like co-ed education that we have. I sometimes feel I have learned from a complete girls convent, but I feel co-education is much, much better when you see each other's capabilities.
Absolutely.
So आपने वो चीज़ वहाँ से जब स्टार्ट की, जैसे वर्क प्लेस में भी एक साथ काम करना, खाना हो, हर एक चीज़ एक साथ करना, मे बी स्पोर्ट्स ऑल्सो टिल सर्टन टाइम. ये नहीं कि लड़की थोड़ी कमजोर है, हमारे साथ बास्केटबॉल नहीं खेल सकती. हो सकती है, आपकी ताकत से नहीं खेलेगी, बट अगर आप उसको इन्वॉल्व करोगे, मे बी 10 में से 2 होंगी जो आपको भी बीट कर सकती है.
Absolutely.
सो ये चीज उनको कब, मतलब व्हेन कैन दे सी दिस, व्हेन एन एनवायरनमेंट इज क्रिएटेड. सो आई थिंक ओवरऑल इट्स अ सोसाइटीज biggest responsibility to build this kind of an environment, and I think the changes that we'll see will actually come down by next generation, so 10 to 20 years down the line.
But as they say, charity begins at home.
Yes.
So we have to start the social conditioning, and even these values or these learnings to be inculcated right from the setup that we come from or our children come from. So thank you so much for answering all the questions of the snake segment so poignantly. But we'll now move on to the next segment where we are going to talk about your ladders and your moments of motivation and elevation today. So now we move to the ladder segment of the Snakes and Ladder show, Major Prajakta. And with that, I want to know that the army trains soldiers to be mentally strong in the face of any kind of adversity. How can women like me, outside the defense forces, build similar resilience to tackle both personal and professional challenges?
I personally feel that both these professional and personal challenges, we cannot balance it. They have to be prioritized. This is what I strongly feel. And when I speak to women, especially in corporate, I always tell them that we women have a kind of a idea that we are Wonder Woman, hum sab kuch kar sakte hain. If you see, that's inbuilt in us, even in me, that I can take care of my home. The dog is my responsibility. The children are my responsibility. Though we have partners who are helping us, but still I think somewhere it's ingrained in us and we keep doing that, I always feel. So most important thing is we women should know that if we require help, if we require support, we must ask for it. We must speak up. Firstly, you need to prioritize. Right now, maybe my career is important. I may have to take a step forward. My husband has to take a step back. Look at the children, look after the entire family. Sometimes he has to go forward. I need to stay back at home for some time. So this has to be spoken about. This has to be, agreed upon. Second thing, wherever you want support, please ask for it. Because when a woman, I feel, becomes a mother, the most important thing of her life is to become a mother. She automatically starts thinking more of a baby than anything else in the world, and this is the time you require the most of the support. Even if you're at work, the thing will keep going on in my mind, how's my son or my daughter doing at the back. So if you have a
Yes.
good kind of a support system of your parents, your in-laws, or even any help of any matter, please take it. Third thing, remember that you need to cut the cord. I always tell everyone, if I'm coming back home after my day's work, I cannot carry the baggage of my professional problems back at home. I need to cut the cord there and there. When the laptop is shut or when the office is left, you are taking a drive back home. This is the time you must de-link yourself. When I'm at home, I'm in a complete role of maybe Prajakta or the wife or the mother or whatever. But I will not be an employee of a specific company then, or maybe Major Prajakta Desai. No, I have left that there. In army, you're not able to do it. You're 24/7 committed, but still, this is where you need to do it. If you do not cut the cord, what will happen is you will keep mixing both your personal and professional life, and the thing will spill onto each other. Either here, maybe you may have a small fight at home, some disagreements, and it comes and spills in your work, or the other way around. So these are the three things, which women should keep in mind and be open. And most important thing is, when you speak to your spouses, or maybe even the young girls, I would like to tell them, your partners, your boyfriends, please have your communication clear, that I want to have a career maybe after marriage, or this is what I want to do. I may want to settle somewhere else. Are you sure you want to, come along with me? Or what are your, aspirations in life? We must speak about it. What roles will I play? Where should I be looking after my family? Or what responsibility I may have towards your family? If all these things are spoken about, and the opposite person may not be clear.
True.
I in my head might think, he's my husband or he's my boyfriend, he's agreeing to everything. The person may not be in agreement, to not align. You need to speak up, have things straight earlier in life, so that the later part becomes easy, because women play diverse roles in their life. So if
Yes.
all these four things are in line, I think everything will fall into place.
In fact, it makes me wonder about two things: that you have rightly decoded the superwoman syndrome, that many women, just they just cannot disconnect themselves from that superwoman syndrome. And we have been continuously reiterating the fact that it is just okay to be human
Yes.
and not a superhuman or a superwoman. So, audience, as you rightly see, that Major Prajakta talks about the same thing, and we want to tell our wonderful women out there that be kind to yourself.
Yeah. I
And
to
don't
think
push
that,
yourself. Don't push yourself so much that it eventually leads to a breakdown. The other thing that I wanted to also bring about in this conversation, that while you said that it's important to cut the cord when you're coming out from your workplace, you're driving home, you know that your family will be waiting there, your children, your husband, maybe some elderly person in the family may need your attention. But Major Prajakta, what happens right now, in the workspace or in the corporate world that we see, especially in our country today, and I wish we had laws like Australia, that a lot of times employers or corporates do not understand that there is something called the right to disconnect.
yes.
And because we women are, some of us have that leadership role to play at workspace, and we know that we also have the nurturer role to play at home. In fact, many women have that. So when that work issue is something that you're already, that you're entangled with, and you want to cut the cord, at times it is only because you work in a organization or in a corporate that doesn't allow you to do that, because you may get phone calls after working hours. They may give you some very tough deadlines, not respecting that you also need a work life balance, and you need to cater to certain things at home. In that situation, when we talk about right to disconnect or cutting the cord, how do you think we should approach that?
I was coming to that when you spoke about that, especially Indian culture of work, especially in the corporate. People don't like the thing of cutting. And I know we receive a lot of calls after. I mean, I've worked in corporate for 2.5 years, I know. But thankfully, I'll tell you, I was in an organization when after Friday, when you shut the laptop, nobody would trouble you till Monday morning. So touch wood, I was in such kind of a setup. But I've seen these things happening with most of the women out there. And I feel at times it is not possible to actually cut that, but it's possible in our hands to delay something. Let me tell you, Indian Army is such an organization. Agar aapne wo phone call abhi nahi liya, it may cost us someone's life. But in corporates, it's not that. You are, people should not think that without this person you're indispensable. Huh? It should not happen that without her, job will not. Every job will happen. I mean, today, even if I'm not there, my office will continue working in my absence and in my presence as well. Everything is going to go that way. Businesses are going to take a leap. People are going to generate revenue. But your family will need you at the right time. So if I'm not able to take a call right now, for example, I'm sitting with my child and teaching, and an important phone call comes up, it's up to me as a woman. I may delay that for 5-10 minutes. I may finish something because maybe I'm addressing a very important thing my daughter has told me today,
Yes,
and that's very, very, very much important. She might be having some kind of a, kind of a situation back in school which she wants to deal with. So
absolutely.
delaying. And second thing, even if something happens and it's really urgent, and there are certain things that, especially at higher leadership level, there are certain things which you cannot delay. Take the call, do the work. And when you're doing the work, please be 100% to the work. Ask for help from your spouses or whatever help support you have. And once that is done, shut it and go back to your family. And the third more important thing, which I think we all fail to do it irrespective of our gender, is saying no.
I,
We do
I
not.
completely agree with you. And I think that's one quality, not only females, but, males
Should also
also
develop.
in the corporate world, they should try to adopt. In fact, Major Prajakta, I want to call out one of the instances that has happened in my earlier organization where a certain leader, just because he wanted his presentations to be done for, some overseas conference or, some other business, let's say, conclave, or maybe some kind of review, would make the team work even on weekends. And then you would see emails coming to your inbox maybe during the weekends on a Saturday, Sunday, and there was nobody who would call out that behavior. But today in my show, when I'm sitting with you and we're talking about cutting the cord from workplace, because it is important for
Yes.
mental health, for your emotional welfare also, I think that is a behavior that must stop.
Yes.
At corporate level, across any industry, by allowing people to go back to their family, to spend time with their family, to have that rest time for themselves. Because at the end of the day, we are humans.
Yeah.
We are not machines. We are not robots
Yes.
yet. AI is yet to overtake the world. But let us, at least have some peaceful moments till
Yeah.
then.
I'll just add one thing over here. Like when the audience will see it and hear it, they will say, "ऐसे थोड़ी हो जाता है, ना बोलने से तुम्हें नौकरी चली जाएगी."
Yes.
They're right. They're right. But you should learn to be diplomatic. I think that's the need of the hour. I may tell you if you're my boss, I may tell you, Ronit, I'm really sorry. This is something what I cannot do right now. I'll pick this up maybe tomorrow. I should know what should be my tone, how and when I am declining. Now, if my boss is, on complete fire, and if I say, Ronita, I'm not doing right now, my child needs me, might be the situation. But Ronita may fire me tomorrow. It may happen. So I should be smart enough, battle mein kab utarna hai, kab nahi utarna hai. It's not guys, without thinking you go. You need to say no where you have to, but at the same time compensate it when you go next day to the office. We are humans, as you said. We can have a very nice chat, explain it to the person why this has happened. Interpersonal relationships are very important,
Yes.
especially when you're dealing with such situation. क्योंकि आपको नौकरी भी चाहिए, आपको घर भी चलाना है, people have to pay their bills also. तो upfront मना करके तो चलता नहीं है, करना पड़ेगा. Same time उसको compensate करके आपको वो अलग से, have to take another detour and address that issue. So I think you have to be such kind of a leader that's smart enough to keep your higher boss also happy, at the same time your team also happy, and take time for yourself. So you have to be that smart enough and know how to, work around these things so that you don't lose your job as well.
Perfect. So I think the art of diplomacy is also something that we women must master if we have to go up to the level of leadership and, obviously also lead other teams,
Yes.
because that's important. Now, coming to the next question, the army installs, I know very well that, there's an amount of discipline, courage, and strategic thinking that comes when you're serving the defense, field. How can the leadership lessons from the army be assigned or be applied to help women rise in the corporate and public life? Like, some of the learnings that you've had yourself or you've seen through the course of your time in defense, how do you think it can help women to rise in the level of leadership or in the public life?
Shall I give you a small anecdote regarding
Absolutely.
my
Would
military
love
life?
to hear that.
Yeah. When I was a lieutenant, young lieutenant commissioned into the Indian Army, you're always bubbling with a lot of ego in your head, because you've achieved something in life and you are always on cloud nine. So when I was in my air defense unit, I was supposed to learn gunnery. Now we have guns which are equivalent to like artillery guns, to give a parlance to people to understand what it is. I was supposed to learn gunnery. I was told that tomorrow 8 o'clock in the morning your classes are scheduled. You just reach on time, and the JCO, the junior commission officer, who is junior to an officer, my subordinate, he will come and teach you along with the other boys, the Jawans. I said, okay, fine. For 8 o'clock, I reached there at 7:55. To my surprise, the guns were not laid out. They were in the gun park. It's like a garage, like a hangar when kept for the aircraft, similar to that. It was all kept inside. There were no lights on, nothing. The gun was completely not prepared. So I got really annoyed on everyone. I went storming to my senior's office. I said, "So this is not done. I'm an officer." By 7:55, I was there. Nobody was prepared for the class. So when I went there, and he just let me lash out everything, and he said, "Please sit. Let me explain it to you." He said, "You are just commissioned into the Indian Army. You are a lieutenant. Your subordinates are also double your age. They have actual on-ground battle experience. Some have worked in the Rashtriya Rifle. They have seen people, dying, fighting for their country. People come with experience. If you have to earn your own respect, you must not demand it, you must earn it." He's like, "Today you are an officer, he will salute you because you're senior to him, but have you earned it?" He's like, "You were not supposed to just go there because you are a student, you're going to learn, you're an
Yeah.
officer, you're his student. So tomorrow, next time, or tomorrow when you have your class, I want you to go at morning 7 o'clock. Take a kapda, जो पोंछने वाला होता है. आप पूरी गन को साफ करोगे along with your men. You will push the 5,000 kilo gun outside on the park, the platform over there. Lay the gun. I mean, these are all the drills and all. Clean it, lay it, and get it ready for your class. Along with your men, you will do that. And when you are done, you will tell your JCO, because he's your guru, he's your teacher, that you are ready, and then he will start teaching you." So I said, okay, his right piece of advice he's given. Second day, tiki tiki boo, I did everything. I went there. And then after the gun and everything was prepared, I went to him and I said, "Sahab, gun ready hai." He was so happy. He smiled. He saluted me. He said, "जैन साहब, क्लास शुरू करने की अनुमति चाहता हूँ." Like, he took the permission from me because I'm senior to him. But yesterday he might have not had respect for me. Today he had respect, because even if she came with a high head yesterday saying that I'm an officer, I should be learning. Today she got grounded. She's willing to learn, and we need officers like these, who are willing to learn with their men, so that they are only going to command. So it's a very beautiful amalgamation of everything. And I gave him permission, I saluted him back, our class started. He made me run with all my jawans, those 18-year-old boys. I was running with them, pura sleeves vees upar karke, practicing on the gun, getting the grease, everything and all. At the end of the day, what I learned over there was, first thing is, respect cannot be demanded, it has to be earned. If I want to be a leader, I should know what my men or my team goes through. And third thing, when we have JCOs, we have the I would say mid-level managers. They are a serving between you and the lower lot. So these are the people whom you need to keep in your in your best interest or in your trust, because they are helping you to drive the entire team down, like a junior manager. Because at times you cannot be everywhere.
Yes.
You have to have such kind of a trust with him. I'm saying him here because I'm talking in the army way. Him, that he helps you run the entire show. And these are the three beautiful things I learned of the armed forces. कि आप उन्हीं को कमांड करते हो जिनके साथ आप नीचे बैठ के खाना खा रहे थे लंगर में, उन्हीं को कल, और जिन्होंने आपको एक्चुअली सिखाया गन कैसे काम करती है, और कल जाके वॉर में आप उन्हीं को ऑर्डर्स दोगे, गन ऐसे लेआउट करो, ऐसे उसका एम इट इन अ सर्टेन डायरेक्शन, these many rounds are to be fed, and this is what our entire operation is. So if you have to be certain such kind of a leader, you should be ready to learn each and everything. So now why I brought this is, now when even men or women, especially women, when we are talking about, if you want to go on higher leadership role, first thing, know your job, know your team. You need to learn everything from the last person who is in your team. He or she can teach you wonders. ग्राउंड लेवल की चीजें उनको पता होगी जो आपको ऊपर बैठ के भी पता नहीं होगी. Another thing I want to tell, ये तो हो गया आपका लीडरशिप का, if you are taking decision, if you have made a mistake, own up for it.
Yes.
And say, yes, I have made a mistake. They'll value you more, rather than covering it up and saying, I'm a boss, I may not, need to show how vulnerable I am.
Yes. Yes.
You need to own
True.
up for your mistakes.
Very true. Very true.
And another thing, a part of it, other than this, what I want to tell people is, which especially for women, we ignore our physical health a lot, and I feel having a good physique, dressing up well, gives you another kind of confidence. Actually it makes you stand out of the crowd and give the right orders. Now I say orders and all because I come from that kind of a profession. So when you're right dressed, you have that kind of confidence, you have that kind of aura, and then people will look up to you.
Absolutely.
I cannot be a lousy leader and come up and completely ill dressed and tell my team, if I have to have and hold that kind of a profession. These are small things, but they have a very big impact in our life. That should be done, and your leadership should be such that if you're, even if taking wrong decisions, you need to make them right and own up for it.
Very powerful, very inspiring anecdote, and wonderfully articulated, Major Prajakta. You rightly said that it's about owning up and it's about earning respect. And I think the grooming part, being well dressed, living up to that level where people, when they look at you, they're also able to respect you, where you're taking care of yourself, you're taking care of also how you're conducting yourself in front of your team, are some important traits of leadership. But thank you so much for sharing that once again for our audience. Okay, now coming to a very important ladder question, and this has intrigued me because the more I've read about you, I've heard your speeches and all your talks that you have given, that no one reaches great heights alone. So in your journey of reaching those heights, who were the key mentors, or I would say figures, who believed in you and were your main ladders in this journey?
There's so many of them, but majorly my parents, my siblings. When I was not married, these were the people who were always forcing me. I mean, I would say they're pushing me. That even my siblings, when they were younger, ताई काहे नहीं होता, मतलब मराठी में कुछ नहीं होता. It's okay, इस बार you have not made it, you'll make it the other time. My parents, they were never discriminated between, the gender, like ladki hai, ladka hai. You want to go for your goals, go for it. Another thing, my society where I live in Lal Bagh. Okay, so earlier in the 90s, I'm born in late 80s. So 90s, it was not considered to be a that safe area or things like that, It was known to be little notorious. So उस area में भी रह के आपको, मतलब as a woman, how you need to be strong and keep standing up for yourself. My father's always taught me this. किसी से डर के नहीं आना. Face that situation and come. But be smart enough. You cannot fight a man with the fragile body of yours as a child that you have. But you can definitely, take help of people around and navigate the situation. So he's always told, need to face a situation, face it. Ekdam headstrong hoke. Another most important person of my life is my husband. When he was my friend also, I think he was the one who always kept telling me, you can make it into the armed forces. I always thought I was so lousy and, not an intelligent. I've been an average girl. That मैं कहाँ select हो जाऊंगी. But this man has continuously kept telling me over and over again, you'll make it. Like first my parents did it, then this person did it. And after we've got married, the biggest support I could ever have, leaving the armed forces, getting into corporate, leaving corporate and again starting something of my very own, again trying to shift things and, putting my hands everywhere possible. Whatever I like doing, he has always supported me, always looked at our family, taken care of our family, and even managed things at our, in-laws and the family level.
Okay.
So I have never been tasked to do anything because this is the man who has always been supportive. So major role of my life, or I would say my success, goes to him. People keep saying behind a successful man there is a woman. It's the other way around in my life.
Absolutely. I think it's very rightly said. I think men and women, they complement each other.
True.
And I definitely believe that in this journey of women elevation, men play an equally important role, because they can be your true allies, they can be your comrades, and they can help you, just get to that level where you're aspiring to be. So thank you for sharing that, and we look forward to meet him someday. Now, coming to question on women in uniform and women in leadership, Major Prajakta, women in the armed forces are trained to protect. And how can these leadership skills be transferred to civilian life to help more women take charge of their own success, their own safety, their own mental health? So how do you think we can optimize, or rather, take certain key skills from what defense teaches their women and pass it on to our civilians?
In armed forces, we have leadership qualities. There's officer-like qualities, they are called OLQs. And based on these 15 OLQs that we have, the selection process also takes place for both the men and women. And if you have these qualities, either you're in the armed forces, you're through, or you are not. And that's why they say the services selection board, the 5-day interview which takes place, is very difficult because it's a personality based kind of a thing. So आपके पास वो qualities हो सकती है या नहीं हो सकती, या आपके पास वो qualities है but not in an appropriate amount, trainable. Like Prajakta may not be 100% courageous, but she has 90% courage. थोड़ा बहुत हम train कर सकते हैं. Discipline में she's lacking 30%. We can train her. So that's how the selection process takes place. Now these are certain qualities which I have also used it when I made my transition to the corporate world. The most important thing is, I feel, is courage. And in corporate, if you say, it's courage of conviction, speaking the truth, standing up for yourself. Might not always work in corporate, but standing up for yourself and standing up for your team. Pardon me, but I've seen that very less where I was working. I mean, people want to have their own careers going forward, and I feel in the armed forces that's not the way. Your life, or I mean, say your entire credibility as an officer comes when your entire team performs well. So I think that is one thing which should take. Second is adaptability. They say an army officer is so adaptable. उनका जो what do you say, adapt करने का इतना बड़ा, the spectrum is so wide that morning if you are putting him in a jungle and making him eat any 4 day पुरानी बासी पूरी भी वो खा लेगा, and by evening you want him to fine dine in a 5-star restaurant, he'll do that. So the spectrum is so wide. आपको adaptable बनाते हैं, किसी भी situation में आप जाओ आपको adapt करना है. That thing also we can put into use when it comes in corporate. Today I might be in team A, tomorrow they might shift me to team B, which keeps happening.
Yes,
I
yes, it
cannot
does.
be resistance to the thing that, oh my god, you're going to shift my teams and I can't do this. Yeah, I might have an emotional connect with my team and my work I do, but that's dynamic. That's how corporate works. Maybe you are required in team B for a much better purpose. So adaptability. Even if I'm fired from my job today, I may feel bad and things like that. Rising up from that, being resilient enough. So what if I lost a job right now? I may try again. It's not the end of the world. Discipline. Third thing. If you are actually getting up on time, making up your bed the first thing in the morning, having your schedule ready. No, you may not stick to the schedule 100%, but 90 or 80% also, if you stick to your schedule and do things, आपका दिन easy जाएगा. Then there won't be any hush hush in the head that, oh my god, I skipped this meeting, or this is the time I had to rush home and do some kind of work. You need to plan your day. You need to be to the time. You need to be a disciplined person. If you have discipline in your life, it's very difficult to be consistent in this, but if you have discipline in life, it is easier for you to draw a balance or maybe prioritize and rise higher in your career.
Well, that's again some superb answers and responses coming from you, Major Prajakta.
One more, if I can add.
Yes, of course. Please go ahead. I'm all willing to hear this.
Taking decisions and making them right. I think I've spoken it a couple of times before, but taking decision. It's important that I do not, just sleep over it. I personally feel, I may be wrong, that we women do not take quick decisions. I also see that in my life. Like as simple as क्या मैं आज podcast के लिए ये पहनूं, and I'll be thinking and telling my mom what should I wear. I'll send pictures to my husband what should I wear. Simple. I'm talking about the most simplest thing. We women should start taking faster decisions and implement them and make them right. It's okay if you made a mistake. You might regret it, but try making it right.
Yeah, decision making skills,
Yes,
another
decision,
area that
definitely.
we need to work on. But this is definitely a guidebook for women to rise in positions of leadership. And I feel that, the areas of defense that we spoke about, the learnings in
Yes.
defense, definitely get stitched and synergized
Yeah.
in what we look at from the leadership point of view. So, very valuable points shared by you. Now, it's time for me to ask you just one last question in the ladder segment before we move to the third one, which is leadership demands are high. And, women at times get caught between the personal and the professional commitments. What, in your views, or what, do you feel that women can do to integrate their personal priorities without compromising career success?
I don't know how should I put it forward, but I have heard many men say, or many people say, I would say, not men, we can just cut that part. Many people say that once a woman is married, her focus is entirely her family. Once she's having a child or once she's carrying, she'll completely get, cut off from work. That is not the truth. Unfortunately, what happens is, I feel we women are judged based on the few number that we are in an organization. For example, in our office, for example, you and me are running an office, and we have around 100 men and around 20, 30 women. That's also a larger number I'm talking about. Because of that smaller number, people start judging us and generalizing what we do, which is completely wrong. There are women who have actually drawn parallel that this is my professional life. If I am the CEO of a company, I will, be 100% to my job.
Yes.
And when I am at home, I may be, because I'm a CEO, I need to address all the calls and all. But yes, there will be 2 or 3 hours when it will be completely undisturbed and with my family. I do not remember the name, but on Instagram a few months before, some CEO of some company, there was something floating on when he said that Thursdays is a date night with my wife, and everything at 3 o'clock or something in the afternoon shuts, and at Friday we start back because that evening is dedicated to my wife. And people were applauding it. And that's such a beautiful thing to draw that exact kind of distinction between two. I think we all can do that. But because we are multitaskers, or you can say we are in multi-dimensional roles,
Yes, we are hustling
yes,
all the
we
time.
need to seek help.
Yes.
It's very underrated. पर आपको help मांगनी पड़ेगी. You cannot be omnipresent. And if you are leading a company, if you're the CEO, I mean, the stakes are really high.
Hi, yes.
You cannot. So the things where you shouldn't be even thinking about is how my house is kept, how dinners are made, or what's happening left and right. Just leave all that to the help. Take support. Then your second important thing, or the equal important thing, should be maybe a child. And my husband, two people whom I have to give undivided attention. बाकी सब जो हम छोटी छोटी चीज़ों में women ना हम बहुत ध्यान देते हैं, मेरे घर में चीज़ें ऐसी होनी चाहिए वैसे, वो सब side होना चाहिए. And if you are able to hire help, please do. No, it should not be that I go back and I cook. In your 40s or your 50s,
Yes.
it will. और ये another underrated thing है जो हम देखते नहीं है, that we literally sideline our fitness.
Yes.
अगर आपकी फिटनेस सही है, आफ्टर डिलीवरीज एंड ऑल, बैक पेन and leg pain and so many things come up. If you are thinking that tomorrow I'm going to own a company, you need to be up on your feet when it comes to your physical standards. You need to set your priorities right. 2-3 hours for your family is important. That's non-negotiable.
No. Yes.
And because a company rests on your shoulders, which includes so many employees, their career and all, there are times when either of the things will get compromised. So you should be ready for it. So it's not always, I feel, black and white. There's some shades of gray everywhere. And we should be accepting of the fact.
Rightly said and wonderfully articulated once again. So that brings us to the end of the ladder segment, but it was a fantastic round of conversation with you. And there are such great takeaways from this insightful conversation that we had with you, obviously through the ladder section. But it's now time to move to the third segment, which is supposed to be one of the most exciting segments because we are now going to play a round of game Snakes and Ladder with you. Are you ready for that?
Sure, Shama.
Okay, let's start.
Sure.
All right, time to play the Snakes and Ladder with Major Prajakta Desai. So, Major Prajakta, this is the board for you, and that's your snakes and ladders on the board. With the roll of the dice, we'll see how soon you get your queen right at the top. And for every move that you make, we have one rapid fire question for you. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, let's go for it.
Okay. 3.
All right, that's a 3 for Major Prajakta. And my first question in the rapid fire is the best self-defense move every woman should know.
Okay, I can tell you the spots on the body where you need to actually hit so that you can escape yourself from a very bad situation. Number 1 is the Adam's apple here.
Okay.
You can hit a person here.
This-
Second is solar plexus right here. Third thing, maybe here a jugular vein is there. And fourth is below your floating ribs. You have a space where there's no, it's weak. So you can punch over there and escape yourself. And last is your knee. So these are the vital points in the body you can actually hit to escape from a terrible situation if you're facing.
Okay, point taken. We'll have to practice it one of the days. Let's look at your next move now.
6,
Okay, that's a 6. Let's see where you go.
5, 6.
Okay, wow, that's quite a big move. And my rapid fire question for you is, if not the army, what would you be doing?
Oh, I think I would be modeling if I was tall.
You still could do that, you know,
I tried
as a
my
second
hand,
option.
but-
Okay, all right. Let's see where we go next.
5.
That's a 5.
5.
Okay, I think she's getting really close there and very, very quick moves. So, my next question to you is, what's tougher, combat training or convincing society that women belong in the army?
I think convincing the society that women belong to a certain kind of a career, not only army. I
Okay,
think that's tougher, but I think in due course of time, things will fall in place for us.
fantastic. Now, let's see how soon you reach the top.
5,
Okay, no worries.
3, 4, 5, and he's eaten when I've come down.
No problem. We'll still, have some more rounds to go. So, my next question is the funniest misconception people have about women in uniform.
That women in uniform are tall, rugged, and strong jaws and all. We actually can look pretty beautiful and at the same time be fierce.
Like you, of course. All right, let's look at the next round with Major Prajakta. Okay,
5.
that's a 5.
Oh,
Oh.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We come back here.
It's okay, That's all right. We'll play this again. If you had to pick a Bollywood actress to play your role, play you in a movie, who would that be?
I think it'll be me only if the money is good. I'll play myself.
Okay,
Or if
okay.
truly if I have to talk about a Bollywood actress, that would be Priyanka Chopra. She's
Okay.
very convincing in every
Wow.
role.
I hope some directors are hearing this. We may just pick up a script from your life. Fantastic. Let's play the next round. 1.
1. Do I take the
Okay, yes, you're going up to the ladder, and let's hope you make it this time. What's the best fake excuse to escape an unnecessary meeting for you?
I need to jump on another meeting. That may not be true. I may just block my calendar and say I'm on a meeting.
Okay, listen to this audience. All right, that's one of the ways to escape boring meetings. Let's play the next round.
Corporate meetings.
Yes. Okay, 6.
6.
We'll wait. No, we'll
Okay,
wait. You
okay.
play. We'll play it again. All right. All right, 1. That brings you to
5, 10.
Okay, but then we play again. If women rule the world for a day, what's the first thing they should change?
That women should continue ruling the world for every day if we had the choice.
Okay, and that's no changing.
No changing
Yes.
then.
Okay, fantastic. Let's play again. 1.
Oh my God.
Okay, a workplace bias that makes you roll your eyes.
That women, when she's carrying, she'll be off for 6 to 7 months and not available to work.
Okay, all right. But she can always make a stronger comeback.
Absolutely.
Okay. That's 4. But we'll wait.
Okay.
Let's ask you the next round. What's your go-to stress buster of a long, tough day?
Going back to my dogs.
Okay. All right, great. Let's play. So we now only look for 1 or 2. 6. No. So we'll ask you the next question. One quality that makes a great leader on the battlefield or in the boardroom.
Taking decisions and making them right, as I always say.
Okay. Fantastic. Okay,
6.
6. But I'll ask you the next question. All right. Okay, so one word that describes women in the army.
Resilient.
Resilient. Fantastic. I too believe that. Let's roll the dice again. 5. No problem. But, we'll ask the next question. One thing you learned in the army that everyone should apply in daily life.
You have to be adaptable wherever you go.
Okay.
Do as the Romans do.
All right. Great, great. Let's look at the next. Okay, 6. No, we'll go to the next question for you. That, for instance, if you didn't like your boss in the corporate workspace and you get one opportunity to show him, the place or, to kind of, give him a feedback, how would you do that?
I would give him a very plain feedback, especially with the bosses that I have had. And sometimes I feel I have no filter. So I would give him a straightforward feedback.
All right.
At the end of the day, it's a feedback.
So the bosses are hearing this out. All right, let's try and see. Okay, that's a 2, and you actually reach the top. So you're moving your queen there. Wonderful. Well played. Well played. Okay, so that's where the snakes and ladder game. It's been quite a tough one, but you were stuck over here, but finally you made it. So Major Prajakta, it's been wonderful interacting with you. But before we close, the conversation today, we've had some very, very, very important insights and very valuable advice that you have given us. So I would like to kind of want to know your closing reflections, that what are your thoughts? What's that advice that you would like to give all those women, girls who are aspiring to grow in their life, to be in the places that they have dreamt of to be? What is it that you would like to leave them with? That those closing few words from your end, please.
It is said that women are the womb of the universe. That's very true. Women are multitaskers. Yes, we are. So whenever somebody tells you that you cannot do something because you're a woman, please turn a blind eye towards that. As I said, have those kind of blinders and keep moving towards your goal. Because when they say Nari Shakti, we are comparing, or we are taking the inspiration from our goddesses Durga. You are Durga in yourself. So whenever you face any situation, adverse situation, actually go head on, bash on regardless, handle that situation, and whatever the world says, please don't listen to it. You are made up for a very bigger purpose, and please go in pursuit of your dreams, whatever the world may say. And you have the fire in your belly, you will do it.
Okay, thank you for the wonderful words of wisdom that comes from Major Prajakta again. So this episode has been truly special for us today, because Major Prajakta Desai truly embodies and teaches us that one fact, that courage has no gender. And she is a perfect example of it. I'm sure that we will have some really great learnings from this episode today for the Snakes and Ladders show. And Major Prajakta, it has been a wonderful opportunity for us to shoot this episode with you. So on behalf of the Snakes and Ladder Show team, gratitude, appreciation, and admiration for being a true women elevator in the real sense of the term. And thank you so much for inspiring us, encouraging and motivating us.
Thank you.
Jai Hind.
Jai Hind. Thank you so much.